Perfect. Welcome to the stream. Happy Friday. Stressful Friday for me. Got to work, and my boss was like, hey, everyone on the team is either... Everyone else on the team is... is either out on like a holiday time off or sick. We had like... My team's already small, but like we had like 2 people calling sick, and so it was just me handling everything for the whole day. And I'm like, oh, this is not how I want my Friday to be. So I was busy, to say the least, today. We are going to... Oh, what is this? Oh, it's just like a post on Steam about the Roottrees. Okay, we're gonna play the Roottrees Are Dead today. We're gonna start Roottreemania, which we got to at the very end of the last time we played the Roottrees Are Dead. And we'll just put some hours into that. Mind your ears as I boot it up. Mind your ears, I said. Are you minding them? Oh shit, I'm clicking around things. Where's the... Strange, 1 second. There we go. That was weird, it was acting weird. And you guys can see it now. Perfect. Alright. So, Roottreemania, I'm told, is even harder than the original Roottrees game, which I don't think I was terrible at. I don't think I was bad. I don't think I was atrocious. I had some struggles here and there, for sure. I'm willing to admit. But we're gonna dominate Roottreemania, alright? We're gonna dominate. Brand new, you know, you know, we can start wherever now. Like I'll read this in a second. Let me first get a good look at this, because this is obviously what we had did previously. Clearly, I just dominated here. Honestly, like I said, for all of the complaints someone could have about my performance in the first main game, whatever, I really don't think I was bad. I think I, you know, I did some things good. I didn't even use my notebook really at all. Alright, what does this one say? You can only open this after the whole family tree has been filled in. You'll have to be extra sleuthy this time around to deduce the truth. Pay close attention to what you find and be sure to look into loose ends. I'm afraid. Alright, I just wanted to look around at this to see what some of these things, some of these pictures look at or seem like. I want to see, I want to open up the hood of the car and see. Is the recording flashing in OBS? Let me see something. When I do this. I feel like I saw some flashes of black, but I can't tell if I'm just dumb or... No, I saw right there. Is it my home monitor? Am I dying? Is this how I know that I'm dying? Are my eyes dying? I think I'm dying, maybe. Is my life flashing before my eyes? I don't know. This would be a very funny way of, or moment for, like, one of my monitors just, like, crap itself out, and then me not be able to do anything. That would also be fun. That would cap off a wonderful Friday, let me tell you. See, I can't tell if it's true or not. In the periphery, I think my whole monitor is blinking black. No, it totally is. I think it's OBS. Okay, I don't think it's just the capture. OBS is, like, struggling. OBS is dying. I'm dying. Both me and OBS may be dying. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely OBS. I mean, here's the thing. If OBS is just blinking black, I mean, that's no big deal. Assumingly. That doesn't manifest as, like, some kind of problem for the viewing experience, I'd assume. It's just this distracting me. Alright, so, anyway, what do I have here? So what is... Okay, so obviously we had family tree in the first one. But what... Now we're getting into the gossip here? Is this just gossip moments? Infidelity in 1921? Possible infidelity 2 in 1949. Possible infidelity number 3. Look at all... There's so many. First affairs, final affairs. What the hell is happening? Is that just to guide us? So there was probably 5 affairs listed. And then this just says family tree update, which is interesting. I don't know how helpful this actually is, but if they're on the original tree and it was infidelity in 1921, that would almost for sure mean that it's someone, like, you can't have someone like this in 1921 having infidelity, right? Even this and down, it would, like, the infidelity would have to be, like, up here if they were on the original tree, right? Just spitballing. I'm just spitballing. We're just now looking at this for the first time. I'm just, you know, saying things. We're just saying things. And, you know, what are we saying? We're just saying things. There's a John Doe already labeled, interestingly enough. Okay. Interesting to see. I like the symbol for infidelity. I'm a big fan of... Shh. Keep it a secret. Also, possible infidelity. So, am I putting this together and then saying yes or no? What is this whole... What is this mode? Okay. Let me read this. An unexpected visitor. Yep. Hands in his pockets. Today, August 3rd, 1999, there was a knock at your door. Clark Rafferty LaRue, who we are familiar with from the first part, current president of the Roottrees Candy Company, explained that multiple people have come out of the woodwork to claim to be Roottrees. He's been trying to work with Sam, but she has not answered his calls. He also handed you a letter that he said could share with Sam, that he said you could share with Sam, that said the following. To both of you. The company I hired to help us with the Clancid Trust is busy pouring through the entire family's history, as well as people they may have had contact with. That said, the family is not particularly happy with this, and are doing their best to slow things down. Many of them are actively avoiding our interviews. Every time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches, so please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe could be realistically part of a relationship that led to the birth of a new root tree. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new section of the tree, and we'll take time to handle verifying the timeline checks out. But keep in mind that we're here, or why we're here. If someone didn't have a child, or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with a negative DNA test, there won't be a place for them on the tree. We're not just looking for affairs and infidelities, we're only looking for the ones that led to potential new root trees. Some spots in the new section will be marked with a tree icon. These areas are reserved for members of the original family tree you filled in 8 months ago. Just like last time, be sure to use birth names for everyone you add. Married names or nicknames won't be enough. To start sorting out the infidelities, I recommend you turn your eyes to the men in positions of power. I'd love to say that's only because it would have been a lot harder for the women to hide 9 months of pregnancy and birth without the family noticing, but I can't. I'll be blunt, I'm no stranger to infidelity. I wish I could claim that I was a perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so why pretend? Some of us learned how to wield our family name and fortune to our benefit, consequences be damned. Can't change the past or unhurt those whose I betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself and to you, refuse to make any more mistakes, and do my best to sort out the various messes we've left behind. So please, fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to begin to make amends. Good luck, and thank you both. Clark. What is this? There are 8 things tied to it, so we might as well read this. Here we go. It's a lot. Strap in. This is a new investigation with a new focus. After many months of newfound interest in the Roottrees, it is recommended you try to catch up with some of what happened since last time. Some web searches may yield new or different results, and some books and magazines from your previous investigation may be relevant to your new one. It's also a much more widespread search. Lists of first and last names you can choose from will contain red herrings. Not all of them will be used. I already know I'm gonna have a hard time with this. I'm under no pretense that I'm gonna like magically become better at this. Below is a reminder of some of the most notable beats of your initial dive into the Roottrees family tree. All evidence from before is still available, and for your convenience, any searches that do not lead to new information will still function as I did during the first investigation. Let me read that again. All evidence from before is still available, and for your convenience, any searches that do not lead to new information still function as they did during your first. Okay. Whatever those words mean. I trust that makes sense. The Roottrees Candy Company was founded by Elias and Gwyneth many years ago. The entire family has a financial reliance on the health of that company. Most of the action took place in or around Butler County, Pennsylvania, where the company was initially located. Elias, Carl, and Raina were on the cover of magazines. Other notable Roottrees such as Lauren Roottrees, Miracle Roottrees, and Jim Roottrees had physical media such as record albums, books, and movies associated with them. Yeah. Lauren's 2 diaries were probably the most useful resources overall, mentioning many of her relatives directly. So true. The 5 pieces, Elias's children, who identified based on the initials of the original candy flavors. There were 5 presidents of the Roottrees Company, many were featured in periodicals. Stephanie Jones and Brian Jones were featured in campaign posters, and led to Caroline Morton's art book, which enabled you to fill out more of the tree. Many of the younger Roottrees were found by following a complex rabbit hole through a conspiracy site that led to finding a searchable web address for Chris Rafferty, Lauren's grandson. Chris Raff75. Yes. November Roottrees was really difficult to place. Her occupation could only be found via Brian Jones' company's website. Yeah, that was like one of the last things I got. Ronald and his brother Robert, and it was a miracle, honestly, that I got this. Sheer luck. Ronald and his brother Robert Roottrees go by Ron and Robbie. Both worked on a TV show called Brother Trouble until Robbie embezzled money and fled to Paris. Ron unsuccessfully tried to have Robbie removed from the clans of trust. Yes. Sam and her father were cryptically mentioned in a book about historical letters. There was also a few dead ends and red herrings. Aloysius Herring Roottrees, who claimed he was a Roottrees but was not, right? Family Man, a book about Elias Roottrees, turned out to be propaganda, not useful. I don't remember this, but maybe not. I don't know. Did I ever get Family Man? I don't remember. Lauren's other books, historical romance novels, were not very useful on their own, though could lead to other information. Caroline Morden's sculptures were not useful. Very interesting that it points this out, in my opinion. Notable events. Start here. 6 pieces. The Roottrees Rift. Clark Rafferty LaRue. 5 P's. Roottreemania Anonymom? You got an Anonymom? Hip Hop Anonymous? Today is August 3rd, 1999. It has been 8 months since you helped Sam Madsen with the research necessary for her book. Sam was true to her word and paid you an incredibly large sum of money. She never mentioned you by name, however, so you managed to keep a low profile. The Roottrees, on the other hand, have not. Below is a summary of notable events since the book's release, though you can refresh your memory in full detail by searching online. 6 pieces. Sam Madsen's book about Elias Roottrees was released in February. It was a bestseller for a few months. At the time, Carl had not yet been replaced. Right. Roottrees Rift. In March, the Roottrees company stumbled publicly as they attempted to respond to the book's release with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. Clark was announced as the permanent successor to Carl Roottrees and welcomed Sam Madsen to the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle the changes to the Clansett Trust. This included any other new questions of lineage. 5 P's. After this announcement, there was a rash of different people claiming to be Roottrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these, by a wide margin, was a rapper named Felix Fellows, who changed his moniker to 5 P's as a publicity move at the same time. 5 P's is the only notable person on the updated tree. Interesting. Roottreemania. In another high-profile misstep, Miracle Roottrees publicly and vehemently denied that 5 P's was a Roottrees. The Roottrees legal team then offered to do a DNA test to get 5 P's to drop his claim, and in a moment that caught what seemed like the entire world by storm, the test proved he was a Roottrees. Suddenly, the world was obsessed with the Roottrees. Interesting. Anonymom and Jane Doe Roottrees. In July, an anonymous woman, who the press began to refer to as Anonymom, it's just so dumb sounding, appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with a Roottrees led to the birth of her daughter, aka Jane Doe Roottrees. If true, this would make her daughter yet another secret Roottrees, and therefore entitled to share the clan's trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would turn out to be the last chapter in the Roottreemania saga. As more and more of Anonymom's story came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5 P's in nearly every significant way. The court of public opinion began to turn, confirming the world's suspicions. DNA tests orchestrated by lawyers on both sides proved that her daughter was not a Roottrees. This final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusations of the entire ordeal being an elaborate hoax or attempt at fraud. Things got a bit ugly, and the fun of Roottreemania seemed to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. What if it was like... Again, I'm just spitballing here. But this seems like... Okay, so you take... The Roottrees family has an incident where this 5-piece guy... turns out he is a Roottrees. And so it says, oh man, Roottreemania was at a fervor. Everyone's looking at this family, and this family doesn't want all these eyes on them. Then this thing seems like just... I may be just grasping at straws here, but it seems like it's just like orchestrated by the Roottrees family. Intentionally pay someone to act like they're trying to do it. Because this sounds like it almost works too well. You know what I mean? To extinguishing the so-called Roottreemania. Pay someone to publicly say that they have a daughter through infidelity or whatever, that's a Rootree. They get tested very publicly, and then it fails, and then it's like, oh shit, oh, it fails, now everyone's not interested in this kind of thing anymore because anyone can make up claims and be lying. Like, this seems so... I could just be wildly guessing here, but it just feels... It feels too good of a job. Also, hello to you as well. Okay. So here we go. How do we want to start this then? How do we want to start? Where do we go from here? How's my day been going? It's good. It's fine. It was a long day. It was, I was saying earlier, it's, I was tired from work. Work was busy. It was a busy day, but I've got a long weekend now ahead of me, so I'm gonna ride that high for at least through Saturday, and then I'll start panicking that I'll be back at work day, or back to work on Tuesday. Oh no. Okay, how do I want to start this? So, I mean, our good old computer. It's like we've never left it. It's always been here. Any day now. Perfect. Let's get a reading, shall we? 5 Ps, aka Felix Fellows, is a rapper who has found some recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as a long-lost Rootree and entitled to part of their fortune. His alias, 5 Pieces of Play on 5 Pieces, an article you found on a website known for their particularly harsh reviews of modern music, gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star out of 7 for whatever reason, with the headline, More Poser Than My Action Figure Collection. The review mentions his real name is David, and he used to go by Dirte Davy. And the author rues the fact that this rebranding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when he was 16. Apparently, only one of the songs on the new album was new, and the others were simply rewritten to turn blatant references to sex, drugs, and violence into clumsy euphemisms. His rise to prominence was kickstarted when he appeared a few months ago on the cover of News Time, holding a photo of his mother with Guy Hudson. His rise on the cover of News Time holding a photo of his mother with Guy. At first, the Roottrees company denied it vehemently. Miracle Tree even appeared on the same magazine a week later. Since then, they backtracked and publicly welcomed him into the family. Their press release at the time stated that they had new evidence that confirmed his story. Okay. I'm going to use the notebook. I didn't use it really at all in the first one. I'm going to try to be a little bit better instead of just trying to remember everything. But really, what I want to write is... Oh, yep. It's like, Guy Hudson and his mom equals 5 Ps. This is great fucking note taking. Honestly. So like, now here's the thing. It says, no, go back to this. Now, Felix Fellows, but also it says his real name is David. David Fellows? There, that's not confusing at all. Fellows? Oh, there another thing I wanted to say. I was gonna say at the top of this stream, at the top of booting up the Roottrees are dead, but it's very funny because I am under no impression that like my obviously channel very small, whatever, numbers wise, whatever wise, but it's very funny comparing like this playthrough to back when I did Oberdin, because seemingly like. And you can try to extrapolate any information from this that you want, but the Oberdin playthrough generally seemed like it was getting good vibes, right? Like great vibes on the YouTube VOD front. And then I don't know when, because I don't pay attention to it really, but I just noticed it because I was looking for something else, is that the first root tree part, I don't think publicly, I think they took it away from YouTube, like people being able to see it, but I can see it on my back end. I can see whenever someone looks at or like likes a video or downvotes a video, you know, there's that whole mechanic to YouTube, which again, I'm such a small channel that I rarely don't get likes or down likes, or what are they? I don't even know what they call them. But when a video does, I end up sometimes noticing it just because it stands out a bit more on the back end that I'm able to see. And it's so funny that someone watched the first part of the my playthrough of the Roottrees video, and it's just like the and did the excuse me, the downvote thing, which is just very funny to me, because that means someone clicked into my tiny little thing knowing probably full well that it was like going to be just like a playthrough kind of thing. And then I must have done something so disagreeable in that first part that they were like, downvote. And it's just the like, I, in my whole history of using YouTube, I don't think I've ever like downvoted a video. And to this day, I've only liked one video, because it's just not how I interact with YouTube. But I wonder just the thought process of someone being like, oh my god. And so like all day today, I was trying to think back, like, what did I do in those like 2 hours or something to make someone so unapproving of of that video? Unless they're like, I'm trying to think. Unless they're like a serial like Roottrees are dead hater, and maybe they just drive by and find whatever video and then maybe downvote, and then it's not related to me. But I assume that's not the case. So I was just wondering. It was just a very funny thing I noticed today. I was like, damn, was I that bad? I knew like part 3 was pretty bad. Maybe part 2. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Or I think someone caring enough to downvote a video like that in the first place is funny. But also the fact that I saw it and then like wondered about the headspace of that person. Not like I actually care, because really, frankly, truly, genuinely, I do not care. It matters nothing to me. Aside from me now pointing it out and me thinking that it's very funny. That like I could have possibly done something in that video. I could have said or played a game in such a manner that someone didn't like so much that they're like, ugh. As they click the button, they're like, ugh. Fuck this guy. I don't know. It's just very funny to me. Anyway, rant over. As much of a rant that could be. Do I have access to all the... Ah. Ah. They wouldn't downvote just part 1, I assume, if that was the case. But that was the case. That's the thing. And also, I think they would. Again, in my head canon of like what the case was, like if they watched a part, however long of part 1, and they disliked it so much, they wouldn't then click into the other ones, right? They'd be like, "Fuck this, downvote, I'm out." I don't know. And again, I only brought up the Obra Dinn one because similarly, like, if they had a problem with the way I was solving things or going very slow, which is the only other things I can think of, like, that also happened in Obra Dinn. I was the same, if not worse, in Obra Dinn, and yet, differently than that, again, obviously Obra Dinn was now longer time ago, so it has longer time to, like, marinate and whatever. But it was very similar, like, for lack of a better term, play style on my side. But that one seemed like it was received no negative feedback as far as I can tell. So I'm like, I don't know, man. Oh, if the guy was just a Roottrees hater, then he would, yeah. Unless it's too much work. I don't know. If they were a drive-by Roottrees hater, I don't know how much work it is to find. If you're searching like Roottrees playthroughs and then you're like, if you only see part 1, you're like, I don't know. Again, it doesn't really bother me, obviously. It's just very funny. Because like I said, as far as my channel size is, like, rarely do my I mean, it happens sometimes, obviously. But rarely do my videos get likes or dislikes to the point where, like, they then stand out when I do see one come through occasionally. And usually I'm only going to see it if it's, like, a video within the last, like, I guess technically whatever the default, like, 30 days or whatever is, because I'm not scrolling back to see, like, how videos are doing as far as, like, views-wise or anything. It's only on the front page of YouTube Studio where I'm constantly working on the newest videos, where then I'll potentially see older, like, whatever the most recent, like, 30 videos are, as far as, like, certain numbers and metrics. But I did go back to Obra Dinn because I was like, how did, like, I was like, is there any stray dislikes on Obra Dinn? And there wasn't. So I was like, okay. There are actually likes on Obra Dinn. So then that's what got me I was like, did I I don't know. Whatever. The simplest answer is probably like an Occam's razor type situation. Probably is that there is nothing. There is no difference. And it is just some weird case. Or someone misclicked or something. Like, there's something, most likely it's a boring answer kind of thing. But it's just funny to think about. I find it all funny. 5Ps is popular and attractive enough that even though his music is not targeted toward teen girls, they seem to be paying attention anyways. Oh, he hasn't done any interviews with the magazine. They've listed him amongst the hunky hotties for the past few months with small bios that tell you various facts about him. This includes his real name, David, his birthday, 77, his star sign, Aquarius, and where he grew up, foster care in Portland. A letter to the editor also claims that it's not possible that he was born in 97, as he claimed on a song called 17 Magazine that he turned 17 in 92. The editor responds to a statement that they've reached out to his agent to ask about the song and were told it wasn't performed by 5Ps and that they shouldn't print rumors. Huh. Fuck. Oh, here we go. Here's something. Yeah, I've noticed the description thing before for those. 17 Magazine, sometimes referred to as 17 Magazine, is the title of an unreleased and controversial song by Dirty Davy. So back when he was Dirty Davy. There's mentions of it on a few sites claiming that it was on the first release of his first mixtape but was removed. God, I want to hear these songs from this guy. There's no audio or visual evidence of it existing, but there are independent accounts from people who've claimed to have heard it and then do generally line up. According to the recollection, it was about many different loosely connected occurrences to number 17, mostly violent. The intro states it was written on Davy's 17th birthday and involved a fictional but glorified series of murders at a fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song title. The person doing the violence was apparently trying to beat Dahmer's high score. Wow. Jeffrey Dahmer has pleaded guilty to killing 16 people in '92. Due to major acts of gun violence in schools earlier this year and the subsequent backlash against violent music and video games, generally considered it very poor taste to bring it up. Most of the people I enjoy mentioning online are either trolls trying to shock people or come from the morbidly curious corners of the internet. Weird. Weird. According to fan sites, Felix Fellows is not 5P's actual names. His birth name was David Fellows. Dirty David was 5P's previous stage name. He used to sell records and perform live in Portland under that name. There's some people selling his old mixtapes on auction sites. One is apparently called Dirty Devil and another Dirt Poor. Dirty Devil. First mixtape, early 90s. There's discrepancies and debates about what year exactly was released. Based on some pop culture references, the range thought to be somewhere between 92 and 94. One of the songs, Yes I Can Jump, seems to be at the center of the confusion. Some fan sites claim that there are multiple versions of different track lists, song lengths on them, though because there's very little evidence of the mixtape online as it is, it's even harder to verify that information. Yes, I Can Jump. Song that was on 5P's mixtape Dirty Devil seems to be the only song that didn't make it onto his studio album people thought should have. In it, he referenced a popular movie from '92 called White Men Can Jump. Right. This reference has caused some confusion amongst the fan base. Because of it, is agreed upon that the mixtape has to come out in '92 at the earliest. Others point out that Fellows referenced seeing the movie on his 17th birthday. That would have been in '94. Some take this to mean that the album had to be released 94 at the earliest. Others claim that he was likely just trying to make himself sound older, since in response to some of the more questionable lyrics he had stated multiple times that he was just a dumb kid when it was released. This is also weird. Especially the discrepancy thing about his age and his birth year. Like, it's been brought up now enough times where I'm like, is this going to be important? Important? Dirt Poor was a mixtape released by Davey in '96. There's a lot of online discourse from people who like to point out that one of the songs, Felix Fellows, includes someone that would be revealed to be his own distant cousin, Raina, in a list of attractive women. Ah. The lyrics to one of the songs, Heat, mentions a few different prominent female actors, models, and musicians from the 90s, provides a crude pun of line about what Fellows felt about them. When re-released in '99, much of the rhetoric was toned down to be less overtly profane, and the line referencing Raina was clumsily replaced by Dana, a reference to a character from The Exiles. Very good. Okay. Yeah, I probably don't want potential actual family being mentioned in your song if you're making a crude reference to them. So even if this person came from the original tree, I don't get their photos from here. I have to re-find the photos? Because, like, again, here we go. If this is guy from an original tree and is 1921, it almost certainly has to be Elias. You know what I mean? I digress. What a start this has been. Okay. So I'm gonna have to, do I have to need to like remember how it is I found Elias in the first place? Like, there's an older version of this page. Huh. This is how they handle this. Okay, we'll come back to this really quick, because they mentioned this Family Man book, and I didn't even look at this. I think I'm spelling this wrong. Was it Bess? Aha! A reprinting of an old book. It's blatant corporate propaganda. The dictionary defines propaganda as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. But if they were to replace that definition with a picture, it would be a picture of this book. Book tells you nothing new about Elias, and from what you know of his true feelings towards some of his extended family, you're not sure it tells you anything true about Elias either. The reissue of the book was so lazy that they reused the famous photo of Elias from Business Watch, whose copyright has expired. Best thing it has going for it is only 85 pages long. Okay. Let's start with... Like, I don't think I'm wrong in thinking this. If it's 1921, and it's an infidelity, it's the oldest infidelity here, and it's someone from the original tree, I mean, the little bit that was like, oh, if you're a woman, it would be harder to hide, like, a potential baby or whatever. Maybe that's pointing to this that early, but I doubt it. I would think that this is probably... Like, when we're... What age range are we talking about of these people? Like, when is this? What year is this? This, I mean, 21. If the Roottrees this was founded in 1908, they weren't having kids. By the time they had, let's say they had even a kid in 1908, then they wouldn't even be old enough to be having infidelity and everything. I think that just automatically strikes them out. I'm not wrong when I say that, right? Am I being dumb? I don't know math. People usually have kids before founding companies. I mean, that's not a bad point. But I'm saying, like, to me it just makes more sense to have the main man be our first problem. I could start doing work here to try to figure out and back up my claim here. You know what I mean? I really could. I could do it. I could do it. Let me read this new thing. Elias and Gwyneth Roottrees were never really celebrities, but the general public's perception of them as classic faces associated with the Roottrees Candy Company had always been in somewhat high regards. This is Elias's intention as a family man, his own family brand. Since Six Pieces, the candy company has placed much less of an emphasis on Elias as a historical brand-connected figure. There's also been those who have argued that it was his right to decide how to split his inheritance and that he did nothing wrong. This has led to some heated television exchanges and countless op-eds. The first Anderson Maple Farm only used to be a popular tourist attraction during the summer months when it had special tours. However, it has since seen an explosion of off-season business as some religious and political groups decided to visit to show support for Elias and Gwyneth's traditional values and financial rights. Yikes. Sounds like not my time. Not my type of time. This rise in support was in turn followed by pickets from gay rights activists when some particularly inflammatory organizations made their pilgrimages. Amongst all this conflict, the farm has since shut down, seemingly indefinitely. The website says check back later and has no date listed. The quotes from Bress Williams' book appears to have been taken down. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Six Pieces, Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family by Sam Madsen was released in early 1999, perhaps assisted by the still relatively recent plane crash shot to the top of charts. Reviews were mixed, and its time on the bestsellers list was limited to only 2 months. Most reviewers agree that the core of the book about Samantha's fathers and the struggles they faced was compelling, and that the takedown of the hypocrisy of Elias Roottrees was deserved. However, many took umbrage with the timing of the release and the tone of the book, which seemed vindictive. The fallout from the book led to the Roottrees Company scrambling to release a statement due to conflict of leadership, famously released multiple conflicting official statements over 3 days. This confusing move was referenced in popular culture due to a late-night sketch about indecisionitis, but more traditional analysts have been calling it the Roottrees Rift. A few months later, due to Roottreemania, the book re-entered the charts and sold even better than the first time. Bum, 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 bum. Indecisionitis was a disease coined by a popular sketch show as part of a fake pharmaceutical advertisement for Jit Together. Jit Together? While the segment isn't fully about the Roottrees Candy Company, it was released in the weeks after their bizarre response to the release of Six Pieces by Sam Madsen referenced the recent news. In the sketch, a woman ordered a number 5 at a drive-thru speaker, then after pulling forward, she changed her mind at the window, asking it to switch to number 3. This caused a lengthy backup and annoyance amongst the restaurant's employees and other patrons. After she pulled away, as the employers began helping other customers, the same woman then barged into the restaurant and passed the current line, loudly complaining that she didn't receive her number 5. After this, the sketch transitioned from the restaurant scene into a pharmaceutical commercial. The doctor claims that the woman was suffering from indecisionitis, disease that caused extreme confusion and irritability, and has recently been found to severely hinder the leaders of large corporations, but could also spread to humans. Doctor then recommends Jit Together, a fake pharmaceutical drug. Multiple testimonies use variations of the catchphrase, when I can't make my tough decisions, I've gotta get my jit together. Yeah, I get it. How clever. Final testimonial includes a bald man in silhouette with a voice changer saying, I'm not comfortable sharing who I am, but I'm comfortable saying that before I took over my family's candy company, I really should have gotten my jit together. Wait. Wait a second. A bald man? That's pretty funny, though. Do I get anything by typing in jit together? No. The 3 press releases from the Roottrees Candy Company after the release of the Six Pieces were referred to as the Roottrees Rift due to the clear conflicts between them. First was fairly standard, stated there was no president of the Roottrees Company, but the entire family was made aware of the release of the book that they would be meeting as soon as possible. Only then could they verify the legitimacy of the claims it raised and decide next steps. Second release was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced that after a vote, Ron Roottrees would be taking over temporarily as an interim president. It also went on to state that Ron was aware of the book and verified the claims within and would look into compensating Miss Madsen and her family immediately. Also stated that the company lawyers would be taking immediate steps with the family to revisit the clan's trust terms to make sure nothing like this could happen again. It was quickly clear to business reporters and analysts that the time between the two press releases would have not been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family, even using conference calls. This was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day, claiming that a draft of the announcement was made prematurely and that Clark, Rafferty LaRue, and Ron Roottrees would be taking over as the company's first joint presidents. It also stated that any compensation plan would be based on a stringent verification process. Good. Okay. Ron was announced as president of Roottrees during the Roottrees Rift. Next press release immediately reversed the announcement and instead said that Ron and Clark would take over. A few weeks later, Ron was dropped from the title entirely. There are hundreds of results about this development, but most articles are retelling of basic details. Some veer into heavy speculation based on an article about Ron in Business Watch. Ron has also done some interviews saying that the truth of what went on behind the scenes is not something he wishes to discuss. Instead, he hopes to release a movie about it someday. Great. 3 weeks ago, Ron's mother, Gwen, died in Paris, France. He and his brother Robbie have seemingly made amends. Interesting. Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Roottrees Rift about what really happened with Roottrees. The article mentions that nobody from Roottrees that they reached out to was willing to go on the record. Instead, the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. Timeline says that the family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl Roottrees died, but before the release of Six Piece Inside, they wanted Ron to take over because of his experience running RR Productions and because he was well-known and well-respected Roottrees. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the clan's trust to remove Robbie. The family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ron became frustrated with the delay. When Six Piece came out and he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight and released the press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos within the family. He tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark, but according to Business Watch source, Ron was impossible to deal with. It seemed like he was unwilling to protect the clan's trust, and they eventually let him go. After that, the role passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about, but seemed like the safest choice. Damn, Clark. The clan's trust is the Roottrees Company's unusual legal arrangements and the motivation for most of their major financial decisions. As a recap, the entire family earns inheritance directly from the profits of the candy company, as well as their sister clothing company, Root, with the period. This means that nearly every Roottrees can potentially have a say in the company's high-level operations. Historically, this has caused the family to be slow to approve any major expenditures that could significantly dig into the profits. After the release of Six Pieces, clan's trust came under heavy scrutiny. Sam, her children, and her grandchildren should have all been covered under trust, according to the wording revealed during an internal family conflict between Ron and Robbie. It seems that those who wrote the trust, Clancy Edward Roottrees at the direction of Elias Roottrees, purposely deceived the rest of the family about the exact details of how it worked in an attempt to keep Sam and her father, Edward Clancy, his own twin brother, in comparative poverty. Because the rest of the family made money hand over fist, they had very little motivation to question their understanding. Sam's book revealed this to the public, did not go over well. Clark took over the company. His most celebrated move was his first official one. He ensured Sam's family would get their share. To help facilitate this, the inheritance aspect of the trust is now under the control of a third party, Ruby Legal Enterprises. This ensures that the financial motivation of Roottrees family members will not interfere with the investigation to potential new Roottrees. According to Clark's letter, however, some family members are still doing their best to slow the investigation by refusing to answer questions. Ruby Legal Enterprise is the name of the law firm that has been hired by the Roottrees Candy Company. The company is named after its head lawyer, Ruby Spratt. Ruby Spratt. You can't find much about the company from before this year, though all the articles tell the same tale. After the fiasco of Six Piece and the revelation that the Roottrees internal law group was complicit in such a cover-up, they hired outside counsel. Ruby Legal Enterprise Group now seems to have ties to multiple aspects of the Roottrees Corporation, including the candy company and Roots. They were recently in the news due to a high-profile lawsuit they raised against Cicely Sanchez. What is going on here? Ruby Sprat, like her legal company, is relatively elusive. The most complete source of information you can find from before her time with the Roottrees is from a website for a magazine owned by a major airline. She was the subject of one article from a reoccurring series about modern-day success stories. Ruby grew up in foster care, but excelled at school and earned a scholarship to study at Mid-Eastern University. There, she graduated at the top of her league class and was quickly hired as a lawyer for a prominent firm. There are a few high-profile corporate-involved cases she was a part of. One was a legal consultant for a class action lawsuit against the manufacturer of steering wheel covers. Another was to help a local gas station chain in her hometown of Portland with the rollout of a promotion that allowed gas station customers the ability to bet on the price of gas. Blurb ends by calling her new firm a double threat. Her company's services are a cross between a traditional lawyer and a PR manager. Cicely Sanchez is an author best known for a portrait of a changed man, released in 1979. Her follow-up, Foreign Gospel, did not perform as well critically, but still sold quite respectably. She's written a few more books since then, including a biography of Van Gogh, but her first two are claimed to fame. According to a site about authors, Cicely is known for her non-fiction with a focus on exploring darkness in the human psyche. Recently, Cicely appeared in a magazine called Picotee, with an article about a book she had been commissioned to write for Guy Hudson. Alright, there's a lot happening here. Magazine and Cicely herself were immediately issued a cease and desist due to its inclusion of pictures that she never had the rights to publish. The issue was pulled from store shelves, making it an instant collector's item. How do I want to tackle this? Let me just see something. Great. The book's description has this to say: what if everything you stand for, everything you know to be true today, could disappear in an instant? All of your politics, relationships, gone in the blink of an eye, would you still be you? Cicely Sanchez tells this powerful true story about a man who woke up after being saved from drowning in his backyard pool and became an entirely different person. Include our interviews from those that knew him best before, as well as a one-on-one chat with that paints an entirely different picture. You won't be able to put it down without wondering, what if that were me? What if that were me? Foreign Gospel tells the tale of a man from the Catholic Church who claims he was told by God that he should travel to Thailand and began to preach, specifically with the goal to convert 10,000 people. He returned to the United States after just 2 years, claiming to have succeeded. This book tells his version of the story, but the author also traveled to Thailand to investigate these claims and talk with some of the so-called converted. We don't get like names of, okay. Okay, I'm already immediately running into a problem here. I feel like I've gotten a lot of stuff, but I'm not getting like, we're not getting names. We're not getting more pictures. We're not getting things. I need things. I need names. I need people. People, places, things, ideas. You know? Do I have... Let me see this. Oh my god! Oh, it was only giving these names because it's from the original tree. Oh my god! Courtney May? Hongbo? Hongyu? Oh my god. I'm so fucked. I'm so fucked. What are some of these last names we got going on here? Oh man. Oh shit. Okay. Fuck, they really made it harder. Okay. Okay. Deep breaths. Ah, release. Just an hour in, and I finally see that that's a thing. That's really nice. That's really good. That's good for us. Well, I mean, like... Oh, man. Since it's broken up, does that mean... If it's broken up like this, if I put an Amy Alves here, and that is true, does that mean it eliminates both Amy and Alves? Or nah? Can't wait to find out. I'm gonna assume not, because then that would mean that, like, some of these last names would have to, like, actually double up. Right? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So really, yeah, I mean... So what I'm trying to say is the bit about them all, like, helps remove extra names in photos. The extra names is even less of a thing because technically... Because it's slightly different. I mean, technically, if you combine a first and last name, then technically that first and last name combination is gone. But it doesn't really help much. I don't know. Just a little thing. Just a little thing. All right, how the fuck? And also, who was this getting busy with so many people? I mean, Jesus. I mean, Jesus. From the original tree? You know what? I'm gonna place my bets. Without knowing anything and not without even thinking about it, just anecdotally, I'm gonna say it's one of the freaky religious people that were crooks. I'm gonna say... This sounds like something of freaky. What was the whole deal? They went and started doing like freaky religious things in the South, avoiding like the you know, the fucking their problems up in the North or whatever with the show and everything. Then like, all right, we're going. Let's go down. Let's go travel, and then did things. That's my guess. Oh wait, what is this though? Look at this. Family tree update. 2 people from the same tree? From up here? Who's doing that? Who's doing this? Alright, where do I begin now? Now... okay. Well, okay. Alright. Alright. What? Anonymom was the second high-profile case after Felix Fellows of a potential new Roottrie being added to Clancy Trust. Instead of claiming herself a Roottrie, however, she claimed she slept with Guy Hudson and that her daughter was a Roottrie. The accusation came during the height of Roottreemania and began with a brief TV interview. She appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in News Time. In the TV interview and the article, she referred to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottrie. The name Anonymom was not self-inflicted, it seemed to have sprung up organically because nobody knew how else to refer to her. The day after the News Time article, Sam Madsen publicly supported Anonymom due to some parts of the story she found particularly credible. With a momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymom went on a media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired. More details came out. People became skeptical of her story due to the extreme similarity to 5P's. Her accusation even included many of the same details as his mother's story. This included her job, secretary, in the time period late 70s. Late 70s. Late 70s. Huh. So it's probably all in this whole... Whoever this is... After fumbling the 5P story so publicly, the Roottrees were more prepared to handle all Clancy Trust-related cases. Within a week, DNA tests proved that Anonymom's daughter could not be related to the Roottrees. This was announced at a joint press conference with lawyers representing both Anonymom and the Roottrees. Each party ensured their respective clients provided accurate samples. Immediately after negative results were released, many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others, who had built up hope that history could repeat itself after 5Ps, felt duped. Many people suspected the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money. I'm holding on to my theory, my very early theory, that this was set up by the family. And Guy took the fall. Many demanded that Anonymom be held accountable, and some people even began to attempt to track down her true identity. The Roottrie Company felt pressured to put out a second statement to try to curb some of the backlash, even going so far as to say, though it's scientifically proven that Jane Doe Roottrie is not a Roottrie, this doesn't mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in an affair. She had every right to make her claim, as has been verified that her stories about Guy Hudson were not exaggerations. Please leave their family alone. See, and they even felt pressured to put out a second statement because they probably... If my theory is correct, they maybe felt bad and this person was getting backlash for faking a story that they had probably paid to, like, set up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's just what this screams of. That they intentionally set up a fake affair to stop people. That just screams of this. Many people claim this high-profile anticlimax and public backlash was the beginning of the end for Roottreemania, since much of the fun was a shared fascination about secret Roottrees. Others think that, like any fad, just ran its course naturally. Regardless, this was the final notable event related to the release of 6 pieces, and things soon went back to normal. So then if my theory... So then am I putting in... If my... I mean... We're putting in Guy... Guy here and saying Guy with all this, and then somewhere on here is going to be the mom of 5-piece, and 5-piece is going to be one of the kids, and then probably somewhere on this side, maybe the last one is this whole thing. Let me just see how I feel about this. I mean, I would need pictures, but... okay. So we can go back to the article in News Time. News Time. News Time? There we go. Okay, I had to get it added. Okay. I was about to fucking panic. News Time is a major news periodical that releases a new issue every week. Rapper 5-piece famously appears on the cover, claiming to be a Roottrees. And then 1 week later, Miracle Roottrees did the same, denying that he was. Because his high-profile back-to-back discourse right before the start of Roottreemania, they appeared to be the de facto publication to get news about the ongoing Roottrees saga. They reported record subscriber numbers during this time, which lasts till the end of Roottreemania, when the world generally stopped paying much attention and went back to reporting on more traditional news. News Time appears to be available via your periodical search. Also, rain? Is rain new? Did it rain when we did the first thing ever? I noticed the rain sound like a long time ago, but... whatever. Okay. Here we go. An anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time holding a picture of her daughter, Jane Doe Roottrees. The first and only mention of the phrase anonymon in News Time came the week after, when they issued an apology for featuring her in the first place. Summary of the initial cover article has been added to your evidence. Oh, shit! Oh, no. That's fucked up. Egg on my face. It was determined through a DNA test that Anonymous's daughter was not a Roottrees. This article, which did refer to her daughter as Jane Doe, but did not coin the phrase anonymon, came before all that, right around the time of her first TV interview. This is a summary. An anonymous woman appears on the cover of News Time shortly after 5-piece was confirmed to be a member of the Roottrees family. In an homage to the previous cover, she holds a photo of her daughter. Unlike 5-piece, she wished to remain anonymous, and both photos were obscured. Okay. The anonymous woman claimed to have had an affair with Guy Hudson while she was working as a secretary. She and another woman were hired at the same time during a transition period, while many of the secretaries that had worked under Zach Morton were already gone. She says that she and the other woman were both underqualified and neither had typewriter experience. According to other staff members interviewed, Guy had his own requirements for hiring women. Guy Hudson liked to throw lavish parties, and the longer he was president, the more excuses he found. The anonymous woman posits that these parties mostly seem to be an excuse to have after parties at Guy's home, featuring much more alcohol and other substances. She claims she slept with him at one of these after parties. She confronted Guy when she found out she was pregnant. Guy didn't seem fazed, and they came to an arrangement. He paid her a significant amount of hush money on a recurring basis under the table. She used to move away. She used it to move away and start a new life with her daughter. When Guy died, the money stopped coming, and she assumed things had run their course. She went back to work at the department store and hoped that nobody would ever look too closely at how she paid for her house. She told everyone that her daughter's father walked out one day and never came back. She claimed that after seeing the fantastic article in News Time, she realized that she wasn't the only one this happened to. While she never worked at the Roottrees company at the same time as 5-piece mother, Joanna, Joanna. 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 And... so I mean... This is what? A span of 7 years? 5 affairs in 7 years? Potential affairs, maybe? Joanna. Joanna. Oh, but she might have, I don't know. Now, see, now I'm going to try using this notebook thing. It's just going to look like random scrawled notes that I'm probably never going to actually use. Because I'm bad. I'm dumb. Whatever. Their stories seemed eerily similar, and she knew Felix was telling the truth right away. The article presented no tangible evidence of the anonymous woman's time at Roottrees, and all the payments were allegedly made in cash. However, using details that she provided to News Time, their reporters were able to reach out to the other women hired at the same time, who also remained anonymous. The other woman hired at the same time. They successfully fact-checked the timeline of both women, confirmed the existence of the infamous after-parties. Five-piece case was strengthened, and this news story was subsequently published. Felix Fellows, aka Five Piece, famously appeared on the cover of News Time, kicking off Roottreemania. Then, a week later, Miracle Roottrees appeared on the cover of the magazine in an article that focused heavily on Five Piece as well. Summary of both articles, as well as a close-up of the photo Five Pieces holding on the cover of this issue, have been added to your evidence. Oh, we got pictures! That damn tie. That fucking damn tie. Look at this guy. I'll read this first. Five Piece, aka Felix Fellows, appears on the cover of News Time holding a photo of his mother and Guy Hudson. The article concerns his insistence that his father was Guy Hudson. The story was dramatic and sensational, initially dismissed as fake until a DNA test proved that he was related to Guy Hudson. Five Piece says that his mother, Joanna, was Zach Morton's secretary when he retired. And then Guy Hudson's secretary for only 1 or 2 weeks after that before she quit. The first few weeks that he was president. His parents divorced when he was 4 after his father learned of the affair. Parents divorced when he was 4 after his father learned of the affair. Okay. Felix's mother then moved to Portland because she was afraid of her and her son's life. He grew up with her until he was 16, but one day his mother never came home from the movie rental store where she worked the register. Next morning, they found her dead from an overdose in her car. Yikes. She had stolen all the cash from her drawer and spent it on heroin. Fun! As Felix went through her belongings, the only things he had to remember her by were a hairbrush she always used, some photos, and a stuffed animal from her childhood. But then he found a box hidden in the back of her closet. Inside were love letters and photos related to Guy Hudson, as well as a letter from his father containing threats. He threw it all away, with the exception of one photo he appears on the cover of News Time. He says it was the only one where they were dressed, the only one not from the affair itself. Ugh. Pictures shown in full inside the magazine was added to your evidence. Magazine also includes some additional history about Five Piece's career. Felix Fellows was born to Riley and Joanna Fellows, but has never rapped without a moniker. He tried to find success by opening for other artists and even by selling CDs on street corners in Portland. He has only recently started going as 5-piece to harness the power of his lineage. So corny. Riley and Joanna Fellows. Okay, so I see. Okay. His mom. And then if I go like Riley Fellows dad, just so that we're slowly building the thing here. So it would be like, think. The problem is I don't know, like, we're so early on and this has so many, there's 5 where he's probably not here, because then there's not talking about, there's no talk of like a sibling, right? And it would probably be one of these that has a split up thing, right? So it's got to be, and it wouldn't be this one because this also has a couple kids, and then also would have been probably, well, this one I was saying like, see, the ending of Roottremania, does that mean that the assumptions of affairs would have ended? My only thing that's throwing me off on that is that it says there was mention of how their stories lined up because it was late 70s. But does that mean then this 82 thing, was there one that came like slightly after the death of Roottreemania, which would have been like, plus, but yeah, but what I'm mostly trying to get at is the insistence that this with the 5-piece guy kicked off Roottreemania. That logic to me just makes it seem like, okay, this is probably the start here, right? Because then it would have been a slew of people coming out. Once the 5-piece thing comes out and it's true, it's verified true with the DNA test, that would be the start of Roottreemania, where a bunch of people come forth and say, hey, Guy Hudson had sex with my mom too, and my mom, and my mom, and my dad, and all this whatever. And so this slew is probably what we would encompass as Roottreemania. A slew of 5 affairs coming through in the short span of like 7 years. So I'd assume with that language of kicking off, I would assume that's here, the first affair, because that being verified. Oh, also, wait a second. I might be really dumb here. One sec. It's got a star. I'm an idiot. I forgot the star thing. I forgot that was a mechanic in the first one. It was a lot more bigger of a deal. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. Fellows. And his name is not Felix. It's Davy. Davy? Consult my notebook. David. David. Rapper. Is rapper a thing? What are you? Rap? The hell are you? Travel agent? Musician? Sure. Baby? Media mogul? We didn't use media mogul at all back up here, right? We never used media mogul. That was a funny one that, like, Media mogul. Damn. Musician. I'm confident with musician. But second place is maybe like a driver. or hairdresser. Cashier. Okay. So then you are like secretary. Although it says, what's the... Remember how it was like the most recent occupation? Didn't she die as a cashier, it said? Wasn't that the whole thing here? Is that what is that going to be part of this tricky thing? Because she was obviously a secretary, it talked about, but technically she died as a... her most recent. I'm gonna finish reading this before I get into all that. Never rapped without a moniker. Writer did some research into the truth. Was able to confirm that Joanna did work for the Roottrees company as a secretary sometime during the early to mid-70s. It also confirmed she died of drug overdose and that Felix went into foster care soon after. They were unable to track down his father. Also reached out to the Roottrees company, but at the moment the company's blanket statement was since the release of a recent book. Roottrees has seen an overwhelming number of false ancestral claims. None have been factual, and nearly all have been knowingly dishonest. We encourage individuals to reach out to us in an official capacity as opposed to attempting to use our name in the media for publicity. Okay. Okay. She worked the register. I'm gonna give this credit. I'm gonna give the game credit. The game expects... What's the famous line? If the game expects perfection out of me, I expect perfection out of the game. In which case, because of this, most recent occupation is not secretary. I think it would be cashier is how you'd put that. She worked the register. You're a cashier. And your name is Joanna. And you... I don't know your last name. I don't know your last name. Because remember, it's maiden names, right? Fuck. Joanna. Joanna. Well. Let me see this picture. Big fan of the shirt just saying Roottrees Family Picnic. The hell is that about? What the hell is that about? There's gotta be something to that. The rapper 5 Piece appeared on the cover of News Time holding this Polaroid of his mother, Joanna, when she was Zach Morton's secretary at a company picnic. He claims that Joanna and Guy Hudson, also in the photo, were having an affair that led to his birth. Okay. So, it could just be the tie to this. Like, it's just a weird, awkward slogan on a t-shirt to tie the fact that she met him during a picnic because she worked for the Roottrees family at this time. But I just want to make sure that there's not some... I don't know why there would be a... Okay, well... I had to try. We had to try. Cool. How are we feeling about this? For right now? I'm feeling pretty good. Now fucking Miracle. Charlatans and thieves. Miracle Roottrees fires back. Now why is he in this? Do we get his picture? And if so, do we have to put his picture somewhere? Is he maybe like here? Because that would then explain why we're getting his picture unless they in this version create a situation where you can get pictures but you don't use them, which would be slightly different than here because we'd used every picture that we could find. You know what I mean? Maybe they change it up and make it even more difficult by giving you pictures you wouldn't use, but assuming that's not the case, it's not going to be here. This one, it makes sense. So then it would make sense that it goes here, and then there's like some weird case with Miracle there. Just saying. Just saying. Miracle Roottrees appeared on the cover of News Time shortly after Five Piece did. He vehemently denied that Five Piece was a Roottrees. This article was from before the DNA test that proved it. Miracle doesn't focus much on the details of Five Piece's accusations regarding his mother and Guy Hudson. Instead, he comes across as exhausted at the events that have been going on behind the scenes, as well as the character of those he feels are attacking his family. And he also probably talked about his stupid tie. He starts with 6 pieces of content. He says that although most of the book was based in fact, it left out anything that wouldn't fit the agenda. He points out Sam's daughter still earns a generous salary for overseeing the farm division of Roottrees, and that Sam did the same before her. That Sam's family was not destitute, and that really it was only her son who chose to take on a job with no salary. He claims that though they didn't have to, the family helped pay for her son's medical bills after voting that it was the right thing to do. Miracle also says that the story about his father, Elias, shunning EC was one-sided, leaving out Edward Clancy's blame in the whole thing. Elias gave him a simple ultimatum: stop sinning or be disowned. Miracle says it was EC's own choice, and Elias allowing him to earn food and shelter on the company's dime was a kindness, especially considering that he and John continued to live together. Miracle then pivots to the fallout from 6 pieces. He recounts a deluge of claims to the clan's trust that the family has been subjected to. He doesn't cite any specifics, but says that every time someone comes forward, the family devolves to arguments. They've had to hire an outside legal team to help, but so far every case has been demonstrably, laughably false. All they do is tarnish his family's reputation. Man, this is something I didn't talk about during the first Roottrees scenario or whatever, but like perfectly encapsulates like throughout that whole thing, and even now, like we talked slightly about like family drama and all that, but like when it involves like a family that's all tied together and is milking like money and living situation off of like the work that like their grandfather, great grandfather, and all this like did for them. Because I know stuff like that happens in real life too, but it just like it gives you that ick where you're like, oh, this family is all doing all this infighting and shit and arguing about like family money and all this and the family business, when really they're just all like sucking off the teat of the money cow that was set for them Like, they really don't have to do much. And he's complaining, like, Miracle's complaining. He's like, oh, it's so tiring that all these people came out of the woodwork. And it's like, oh, shit. Other people in the world want to come after the money that I am entitled to. How annoying. It sucks. I don't know. It disgusts me that there are people actually like this. Inherited family wealth sickens me. That's my opinion. He focused on 5 Piece to appear on News Time before him, calls him a grifter and a delinquent, says he's using their name and products to sell filth to the masses. Of all the accusations, he says that is most dangerous because it exposes the world to hatred. He cites 5 Piece's lyrics as violent. Let me see. He cites 5 Piece's lyrics as violent, sexist, and ungodly, and prays the boy will repent, retract his lies, and find religion. What do I think of Sam in that scenario? I mean, definitely. I see what you're trying to do. And I agree. It's almost like a gotcha moment, but also, like, I don't disagree. I think she is obviously was in the story very financially motivated to have this moment against the family. I don't disagree. But also, I don't necessarily fault her in the slightest for being like in the slightest, it being like, oh yeah, like our side was treated poorly, and like I'm going to, you know, I mean, partially about her kids, because like she doesn't care about the money herself. Especially since she gave the player her part of the money. Hey, like I said, I'm not saying she's completely like free of like doing exactly what I was saying, like disgusts me or whatever. But like I said, at the very least, she took on the powers that be in this family. I don't know. See, as much as I hate the whole, like, even if it's fictional, like the inherited wealth aspect part of like family members that don't like just want to suck off the money that they didn't have to necessarily work for, kind of thing. I'm also equally in favor of a challenging force against that power dynamic and knocking down the family a peg, kind of thing. I don't know. It reminds me a lot of, like, God, it was a movie I was thinking about recently because I was about to watch the third movie in the series, but the original Knives Out, which I was a big fan of movie, that has like the similar thing, right? Obviously it's painted differently because it's a murder mystery type movie thing, but the whole thing is that the guy goes down, the old guy, and then you have all the family members being like, oh no, our source of income, kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Or, if we want to stay in the realm of video games, fucking one of the many reasons I like Dumineko. I should say, in the real world, I hate that generational wealth in fighting family thing, because it's problematic and whatever. But in fiction, I'm a big fan of being a fly on the wall, of seeing adult family members arguing and bickering for their money or the wealth they think they're entitled to, type situation, and problems arising from that. Like in a fictitious world, I like monitoring and seeing it all crumble because everyone's being greedy. Whatever. I'm getting on too much of a tangent here. What is all this? What's going on here? I think my theory is true. I'm not gonna block in the photo here, but trust me that I want to think that this photo goes here. And I think this is equally portraying especially why he's firing back at this, like story and narratively wise, it would make sense that he goes into an interview and he's like, I'm so tired of people doing this kind of thing. Where if he had his own controversy years earlier, and that would then make sense to put, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I've done it. I'm doing it. He's doing it. It's the original Miracle, yeah? He's done it. What's his position again? He's the preacher. That starts off, kicks off the preacher. Now this might moot. Oh! Oh! It just made too much sense. Let's be real. Let's be real. I gamed it. I gamed it so hard. It just, narratively, just made way too much sense. Oh, man. Oh, man, we're starting off so good. And at almost 2 hours into this, we're starting off so good. We're starting off so good. Oh!
Clark reached out to you. Well, let me give you a
Sam!
history lesson about the last few months of my life.
Sam!
3 different people contacted me, claiming that somewhere in their history, they might be Roottrees. First, that young man, the rapper. I ignored that one. He seemed dubious.
Dubious.
But then I saw the news. I felt terrible. So I began helping the others. Because my doubts with Felix were so misfounded, I ended up putting too much faith in the second person that approached me.
Second person.
I went to the media prematurely. I admit my mistake there. But the third person who contacted me also had a credible case. Before I could help, the company got to them somehow. The fact that the family silenced them doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to Clark's intentions.
The fact that the family sounds some doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to...
But you're making progress based on the leads he gave you. It's really hard for me to get a read on him. I'll let you handle it.
God, I was so right about the miracle thing. God, it just makes too much sense. That's why he's so bitter and does the interview about the Felix thing. Because he had to have been embroiled in his own... And combine that with the fact that it gave us a picture of himself, of Miracle. Like I was saying, unless the game was doing something that it didn't do in the first adventure, where it would give us pictures that we wouldn't use, it wouldn't make sense then to give us a picture of Miracle unless he was put there. Yeah.
I've sent you the case I've been working on, and some company records I managed to track down.
Ah.
The records are quite dense, but hopefully they're useful.
Oh.
Good luck.
I love dense. I love dense. I didn't even get to finish reading this. Where? Oh, here we go. He cites 5 pieces of lyrics as violent, sexist, and ungodly, and prays the boy will repent, retract his lies, and find religion. Lastly, he returns to the future. Miracle states that those that wish to hear the true story can join him on his farewell tour this upcoming fall. Jesus. The Miracle's Roottree are planning on touring the country's churches one last time, and that now at age 71, Miracle is the oldest living Roottree. While he plans to continue preaching at his own church in Butler County after the tour, this is your last chance to hear the truth from the man with the most complete recollection of one of America's most notable families in your own hometown. Yeah. The article mentions that Miracle's son, Miracle Jr., did not wish to comment, and has a statement from Clark Rafferty LaRue through the Roottrees law firm. Miracle does not speak for his entire family. We're working carefully on a plan to definitively disprove any claims of infidelity in our family's past. Article also does not refute Miracle's claim that he's the oldest living Rootree, despite Sam Madsen being born the year before him. It was unclear if Miracle made the claim out of ignorance or spite. Great. Great, great, great. Great, great, great. Yeah, I know. Bitter old white preacher man. A story as old as time. Okay, now we got some shit happening. Where things are happening here. I still don't know where I want to place the failed, the one where it failed, because like I said, I'm thrown off for some reason about the 82 thing, and the fact that there was a story thing that said that they both happened in late 70s, so that wouldn't then make sense to be here if it was 80, if this happens in 82. But then, but the whole thing about the last one was that it killed Roottreemania. But then would there still be some things that trickle off? Or, you know, trickle in, I guess I should say. I don't know about you. Mary Beth Clementine. This photo was given to you by Sam Madsen. A woman named Regina Clementine came to her and claimed that her husband has confessed he thinks he's a Rootree. The details of this case can be found in your evidence. Stuart is the older boy wearing a vest. The woman in the photo is Mary Beth Clementine, a singer who may have had an affair with Miracle Rootree. Whoa! Hey! Whoa! Hey! Hey! Whoa! Hey! Whoa, hey, okay, shit's happening. Big, huge. Okay, so that we instantly know about the... So this photo was given to you by Sam, a woman named Regina, which you would assume is the daughter, came to her and claimed that her husband, or not her, it would be like, in here, one of these is, it would be, her husband has confessed he thinks he's a Rootree. I like the Clementine on the guitar. So this is Mary Beth, singer who may have had an affair. Okay, let's not get this. Lots of musicians. A lot of musicians. Okay. So then you would assume that this is probably the initial guy. The first guy. Right? And then you get the kids in here. And one of them is going to be this kid. It's probably like... Stuart. but it doesn't necessarily... we may pretty soon learn that which of these... Because Regina then is going to be here or here. One of these is Regina, because then they're saying her husband came forward and said, I'm going to guess this, but I don't have enough to go off necessarily. Alright, let's read this. From 6 pieces at prodigy.us to genealogy genie at prodigy.us. I want to make sure that's not him. This is all the information I have about Regina Clementine Nee Salazar from New Orleans. What does this mean? Huh? Huh? What does this mean? What is ne? Is that something I don't know? What does this mean? Is this a name? Is it a thing? Is it a name? Oh. Is a way of providing information about what someone was originally called. It's often used to write a woman's maiden name after her married name. Oh! I had no idea that's how you do that. Am I really... Is that really common knowledge? Huh? Oh? So wait, do I need to put Salazar here? Damn. Well, I'm also an idiot, so it's possible that I should have known. I should know that. I've just never have seen a maiden name be referred to as in like conversation with N-E with an accent and then E afterwards. So wait, do I need to switch up the names here? Regina... Oh, I wouldn't be switching up any of their names. I'd be switching up, like, if Regina was here, it would be like, I know how to spell. It'd be something like this. But this might also go here. It's going to be one of these. From New Orleans, Louisiana, her husband, Stuart. Oh. I just got to read the next, like, 2 words, and I'm going to figure out that this is correct. Great! Go team. She wrote me about a month ago. Apparently the Roottrees lawyers went after her since then. By the time I received her letter and called her, she told me she couldn't cooperate anymore. Her husband, who is a police officer and never knew his father... Police officer... and never knew his father... told her he thought he might be a Roottrie, but he's estranged from his family and didn't want to pursue it because he had no proof. She wrote to me behind his back. Normally, I wouldn't be so sure, but she had some pretty credible facts. Some of it I've been able to confirm. Stuart's mother was named Mary Beth Clementine. She was pretty well known in the 30s and 50s, a singer who went on tour a lot of churches. Church touring. Ha ha ha. Makes a lot of sense. You can look up her online. She was a pretty big proponent of adoption. I know for a fact that she came to Butler County a few times. I remember her from when I was younger. And Regina said that Stuart told her that they always seem to spend a lot of time at the Miracle Church. Awkward. She sent me a photo to prove that she's who she says she is. I've attached it to this email. Sam Madsen, 6 pieces. Unwrapping America's Sweetest Families out now. Please consider saving a tree and not printing this email. Can I get a copy of this whole book? I didn't even think to do something like this. I didn't even think of doing that. That should have been one of the first things I thought of. Ooh, older version. Oh, that's funny. Sam Madsen's book was released earlier this year and details the truth about Elias Roottrees, as well as Sam's fathers, Edward Clancy Roottrees and John Miller. You don't verify her story, so much of the book's core contents are familiar to you. That said, Sam had some sections on other family secrets and rumors. Much of it didn't matter to the primary purpose of the book, and some of it's new to you and may be important in your news search. These sections have been added to your notes. How fun! Okay. Alright. Mary Beth Clementine came to Butler County a few times and played religious hymns at the Miracle Congregation's church. She's mentioned 2 times. I'm really sad I can't play that song. Can I re-find? 1 second. What's the song called? It was like, was it Times Are A-Changing or something? What was the same of... What was... What, can I re-get that? These times. I was so close. It may now be irrelevant. Damn. Can I search the internet for it? Damn. It's too old. I want to re-listen to it. Wait, you know what I could do? Oh my god, I searched... I think you can actually see the old evidence in the evidence tab, really? Where? Oh, archived. Damn it, I had pulled up a YouTube video too and everything. Well, screw this. I don't need the YouTube video then. Where is it? This isn't the one. Also, this was the song I was thinking of and not the These Times one. I don't want this song. Or maybe I do. Which one do I want? Life is life, love shall be me for you. This is, okay. Inherently, like... Here's the thing. This song... I think this song is better. Well, no, do I really stand by that? Give me the other song. Give me the other song. This one's funky. I don't know. I'd have to think about it much longer to determine which one I like more. This one has a better message, obviously. I think... I don't know. Do I like the other one more musically? This one's inherently a little goofier sounding. But it's got a better message. This is tough. I think ultimately I probably would rather... This is the one I wanted to listen to when I was like, oh, I want to listen to the song. And then I can only think of These Times as the title before. That's tough. Alright. I'm just going to talk over the singing. No worries. She's came to Butler County a few times and played religious hymns at the church. She's mentioned 2 times, so the first visit from 49 was significantly more substantial. Miracle Congregation welcomes Mary Beth Clementine with open arms. The article mentions that the church's leader was moved when he heard Mary Beth's recording of one of his favorite hymns, His Eyes on the Sparrow, and reached out to her personally. We're rolling, 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 go down the street. His Eyes on the Sparrow holds a very special meaning to me. As you know, I've had a very difficult upbringing, and it's no secret that my own eyes have been always been a source of struggle. The song is about overcoming sadness and hardship through Jesus. Jesus! If God can find a way to watch over every sparrow, he can certainly watch over those made in his image. My family's fortune does me no good as a man of the Lord. It's much better spent spreading his word. And I've felt a kinship with Mary Beth ever since I heard her voice. When I learned her personal story, I knew I had to keep her in whatever way, or help her in whatever way I could. The Bible is full of adoptions from Moses to Esther. Spending your life taking care of those helpless to help themselves is incredibly noble. She and her son are welcome to stay in our guest home. It's so fucked, man. The second visit was a few years later in 53. The article mentions that her first visit was a massive success, and at the insistence of Miracle's congregation, she returned for an encore performance. Also mentions that the unusual circumstances of her second son's adoption had prevented her from touring recently, but doesn't clarify. Okay, so let's get the situation straight here, right? This whole bit... Okay. The article mentions that her first visit was a massive success. It also mentioned that the unusual circumstances of her second son's adoption have prevented her from touring recently, but doesn't clarify. I think... yeah, I don't know. Nah. Whatever. Was I done with that one? Was I done looking at this? Was I done looking at this? No, was I done looking at this? Was I done looking at this? Okay. You were given some partial staff records cross-referenced by Sam Madsen. These records are based on old tax mailing information, only detail the employees that work directly for Roottrees or in their corporate office. The many laborers on their farms and in their factories are not listed. Great. You're not sure how helpful it'll be except for cross-referencing guys, secretaries, and visits overseas. Spider searching people just because they are listed in these books will likely be a very time-consuming and a waste of your time. Yeah, okay. Leadership. I mean, it gives us names at least. In 77, it was announced that Zach would be retiring, Guy would be taking over at the start of 78. They had a little retirement party in November before spending the final month working on the transition. During 76 77, the following changes took place. We're rolling, rolling, rolling on down the city. Joanna Robertson. But a Joanna Fellows has been added to the list. That's probably just a name change after getting married. Right? I don't think you have to overthink that. Jenna Fellows and Beth Knox are no longer employed by Roottrees. Beth Knox. That would have been the other one that had the problem, right? But Christine Garland has been hired. We're rolling, rolling, rolling on the city. It's gonna be stuck in my head all night. Oh God. Okay. Now do I want to put Beth Knox? Because wasn't the whole thing that the two of them left? I'm coming right back to this real quick. Was it in this? See, many of the secretaries that worked under were already gone. She says that she and the other woman are both underqualified. With her daughter. See, she didn't work at the same time as 5P's mother. So this is not... Fuck. Okay. So it wouldn't even be... This is not Knox. This... Because they didn't work. Which would mean Beth Knox is like... Or not Beth Knox, but this person I mean, Beth Knox 50-year work anniversary. She stayed on just to get the bonus and then was like, I'm fucking out of here. Honestly, good for her. Let me continue with this. In 78, Guy Hudson took over. This began a particularly volatile period in the company's staffing. Many travel expenses were listed, and Guy began trying to develop new 5-piece flavors. Following changes were recorded. Guy Hudson replaces Zachariah. Edward Roottrees, Elizabeth Cravensworth, and Lloyd Carpenter are no longer employed by Roottrees. Yeah, I think Beth Knox has been, the name has been stricken from my mind now. Edward Roottrees, Elizabeth Cravensworth, and Lloyd Carpenter are no longer employed by Roottrees. Raffertoons is now listed as office staff. Interesting. The Raffertoon site that once had a photo of Clark on it no longer exists. Instead, it redirects to a site for a telephone number called that, which frustratingly keeps popping up advertisements in new windows every few seconds. You manage to close them, but sure is annoying. Part of me wants to just... 1010-250 is apparently a phone number you can dial before making a long-distance call to receive a discount from the telephone company. For the past few months, you've been inundated with ads for it and other services like it. This includes TV spots starring celebrities, radio commercial parodies of popular songs, and banner ads for on many different sites. It doesn't seem to be relevant to your search. The Raffertoons domain was likely purchased by a third party when the license expired. Okay. Albert Cross and Fred Cross no longer employed. Christine Garland's no longer working. Beatrice Watts and Corinne Schwartz. Julia McCullen, Doris Mays. Lisa Lewis and Valerie Ewing. Thomas Green, Michael Crane, Elizabeth Fair, and Jack Keatons are no longer employed by Roottrees. Seinfeld, Sam Couture hired. Robert Logan. Sam, Special Services Interpreter. Susan Ford was hired under a special category that only exists for 1 year. Interpreter. Caviar. Oh, the caviar flavor, yeah. The volatility continued. Many new employees didn't tend to stick around very long. Following changes were recorded. Terry O'Connor was hired. Susan Ford has been moved to office staff. Douglas Rosenberg is no longer employed. Edward Morrison, Robert Andrews. Edward Morrison is no longer employed. Corinne Schwartz and Beatrice Watts are no longer employed. Linda Lewis, Angela Ingram. Linda Lewis and Valerie are no longer employed. Catherine Garrett was hired. Susan Ford's been moved to office staff. So she went from interpreter to office staff. Gua? I don't know how to say it. I tried though. Ganondorf Dove? Grandorf Dove? Aha! The Grandorf School for the Deaf, formerly Grandorf Dove, is located about an hour from where the Roottrees offices used to be in Butler County, but it serves much of that part of Pennsylvania nearby Ohio. According to their website, it's formerly named Grandorf Dove from 2390 because Grandorf was the last name of the founder, and Dove is the Danish word for deaf. The founder had issues with government translators, leading to an odd transcription issue. In 90, it was renamed to better represent the school's purpose and to correct the embarrassing lack of effort and awareness demonstrated by government officials in its early days. Staff is listed on the website. You scan through all the biographies to find that the principal, Miss Ford, is fluent in 5 languages, including ASL. She has been working at the school for over 15 years. Miss Ford's bio also mentions she's not deaf herself, but rather learned sign language to communicate with the deaf. Mentions that she was responsible for securing funding for the Hudson Wing. Hudson Wing is an expansion to Grand Dove, now Grand Dove School for the Deaf, first built in 82. It's a separate, much smaller building, half a block from the main campus, and operates as a smaller, independent school, offers free ASL courses for the family members, friends, and caretakers of deaf children. According to the history site, they get their name from the president of the Roottrees company generously donated, after the president of the Roottrees family generously donated that towards the construction of the building. Yeah. Also, a very vague history section you can somewhat fill in with details from the other information you've seen about the school. Mentioned that the donation came at the instance of an employee at Roottrees at the time. Mentioned that she learned ASL from the main school before the Hudson Wing even existed to surprise her future husband, who was deaf. After realizing how useful a service like this could be to non-deaf people that wish to better serve those with hearing issues, she convinced Roottrees management to invest in the school. Hudson Wing opened, and she became the first teacher at the new campus. At first, it only operated on weekends, but since it was added afternoon class on some weekdays. Okay, so there was clearly money exchanged from Guy Hudson died in May of 1982, so the first few months of the year continued along the same pattern as they had been. Things could change when Ernie took over. Most of the extraneous expenses ended, and all the secretaries, most handpicked by Guy, were let go. Sam Madsen left Roottrees in 84, so this is the last set of books you have access to. Following changes were recorded. From here on out, no secretaries are directly employed by Roottrees. Roottrees instead uses a temporary agency called Work Time Temp. Victor Logan was hired. Stuart Taw is no longer employed by Roottrees. Amy Sutton was hired. Sam Madsen is no longer employed by Roottrees. Sugar plum, strawberry, this thing, butterscotch, caviar. Okay. So he died in 82. So I think the infidelities with Guy lasted obviously until his whole ordeal. I think then that pretty comfortably places the last fling being Susan Ford. Susan Ford? Suzanne Ford? Susan? I'm gonna go with that idea. They got their name after the president of the Roottrees company generously donated $250,000. The $250,000 came in, was it this year? Yeah. When she left, would she have just became a teacher there? Never mind. I would assume searching this just gives us the same thing as... Yeah. Oh, she's the principal. Principal. Is principal a thing? Ah, not a teacher. You piece of shit, Austin. Okay. Alright. Great. Great. Honestly, great. Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. Okay. Alright. Okay. There are 8 things. This is crazy. Don't worry about that, Austin. Don't worry about it. Don't look at it. Let me read this thing. That picture. That dang picture. Sam's book has a few different passages about her own history with the company and the rumors and gossip she collected during that tenure. She ran the farm for a period starting around 68 after the death of Elias Roottrees until her daughter Gwyneth took over in 84. Most of the relevant rumors coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, who took over as president in 78. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy. And according to Six Pieces, it was an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of the remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. Was not very much... I read that weird. It was an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. Many of their hires at the time were young, single women, and Guy often spent a lavish amount of money on private parties. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, find the following information that may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter, who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. Elizabeth. Farm supervisors. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonelli's met her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. What? Okay. Wait. Wait. Okay, so the daughter was a secretary. So Elizabeth worked at the farm supervisor. Elizabeth had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as a secretary. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonelli's met her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't... I'm trying to keep it like fucking all straight. And then Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. Why is the first instance of Elizabeth in quotes? Why is Elizabeth in quotes? Why is that weird to me? I don't know. Elizabeth had a daughter So, just to visualize this, on here, one of these, probably not this one, one of these is going to be the daughter of Elizabeth. Name we don't know yet, probably. Elizabeth's daughter is one of these. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant met her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy. Didn't seem comfortable switching partners. There's a lot on here. There's a large number of Antonelli's restaurants, not because it's a chain, but because it seems to be a common name for Italian restaurants. You may need to use a more local resource. Ooh. Ooh. Antonelli's is an Italian restaurant and has been in the Butler County Times twice. Most recent time was when it closed in 92. The owner, Rochelle Zimmer, sold the land the building was on. At the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a new location or if she would retire. Many years before that, there was a puff piece from Valentine's Day 78 that asked recently married residents of Butler County how they met. Christine Garland responded. Christine Garland. That name sounds familiar. She and her husband Steve, who is a chef at Antonelli's, met years ago when she delivered produce from her father's farm. Okay. Alright. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. Although they grew apart when the restaurant switched suppliers, they reconnected by chance and eloped at the end of last year. Now she has a bun in the oven, and they're both working as much as they can. She's a secretary, but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open their own restaurant. Okay. Okay. We could, Christine Garland, the rest of the 6 pieces we'll come back to. Hold the phone. Let me see when Christine Garland worked. Because then we could probably place where Christine Garland goes. Right? Right? Christine Farrow was hired. Christine Garland, 77. So pretty much right after 77. I mean, and then switch to Garland, probably because Garland, Steve. So like something like that. Although well, this is not a thing. Yeah, there's no there's no person here. So I'm gonna imagine it is here. It's not gonna go into this. Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Yeah. 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 Now the thing is, she obviously leaves. She doesn't stay there long. Alright, let me go back to this. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding the markets previously untapped by Roottrees. However, when he went on trips overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meetings with distributors and manufacturers. It was said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. Ah! Lovely. There's also a section where Sam speculates that Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Elias was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. While she has no hard evidence, Sam always got the impression that Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias into showing Sam back, or allowing Sam back into the family, using some kind of leverage, instead of being a natural course of events. You mentioned that Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her who's Beth, because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Elias once had a secretary named Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth than the supervisor from the farm, but she never met her. That's juicy. That's juicy. You love to see that. I just want to make sure. I'm gonna put that's nah. I think you might need to do a deeper dive on one of these leads. Well, that's just vague enough to be helpful. I think I need to do a deeper dive on everyone. Everyone needs a deeper dive. Boo-boo! Thanks, I appreciate that. That's a good point. What's my water looking like? I have just a little bit of water in front of me. I could actually use a bit more water. Damn. I'm gonna have to go get water in a bit. Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay. Let's think. Let's think. Why the hell is this game telling me this? Does that mean that they might be helpful now? For some strange reason? After the release of 6 pieces, Caroline Morton did television interviews. Someone has uploaded a partial transcript of that interview on the television section of the messaging community. Transcript is only her answers as missing the questions. This creates a somewhat confusing reading experience, but does give you a bit more history about Caroline and some of her family members. 45 minutes. This was a cable news interview, a transcript of only Caroline's answer, then posted on the site about television. Thank you for having me. I've never really fit into the family, so it didn't surprise me. She could have put me in if she wanted to talk about the time during my activism days when I almost got arrested for stealing the spark plugs out of all of her tractors, but I don't really think it fits her narrative. Yes, I know, they never tried to kick me out or send me to a live on a farm, if that's what you mean, but I was already pretty unpopular, and once everyone learned why I divorced my husband, few people paid me any attention. She's my wife. Not legally, but we've been together for half our lives. Call it what it is, I was 20 and just had my daughter. I hate to look back on that time because I was a terrible mother the first few years. Left my daughter with my ex-husband and followed Guy on a private jet to Europe. He lost a tooth and a client. I found love and a better understanding of who I was. Still, in our family's eyes, his trip was somehow more acceptable. Explain that. No, I couldn't stand him. Our family wrote off his behavior like he was some huge fan of romance or women, but he didn't like the entire woman. It was doubly awkward for me because he was more supportive than most. I slowly figured out it was because he assumed I would be as shallow as he was. He was a workaholic, he seemed nice enough and did a good job. I didn't know him well. That was one of Sam's problems with our family. None of us did except Carl. Honestly, I get why she's pissed. I'd rather not speak ill of the dead, not unless you want more stories about Guy. With Carl, though, all I can say is we used to be friends before they sent him to private school. He came back a lot judgier. Made sense when they made him president. He was a lot like my father after they disciplined the fun out of him. After I started protesting the farm, she stopped returning my calls. Oh, well, he's harder to label. When I was a teenager, he was basically drunk or high or both all the time. He actually used to sell me pot. His problems with women were different than Guy's, but he never really judged me. I guess he knew it would be pretty hypocritical to judge anyone for anything. Back then, he was destructively unreliable in every way, but nowadays, he's just kind of boring and old. I prefer that to how he used to be, into Guy and Carl, but still a cautionary tale. I hope I'm never that boring and old. Great. Ba boom ba boom ba boom 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 ba boo boo. How do I want to start tackling more? How do I want to do this? I gotta probably... Okay, so Anonymom was the second high-profile case. Okay, so... So we're saying... The second high-profile case, so this... So... Wait, but this would turn out to be the last chapter. Wait. I don't know about this one. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, I'm willing to bet. I think this one just didn't become highly publicized. I'm willing to bet that the whole Susan Ford, whatever, this whole thing just didn't become like huge, big public thing. I would place the Anonymom one here, probably. That's what I would think that part's implying. Time period, late 70s. I mean, it could be just this. Here? This new president of Roottrees Corporation does not include Root, which appears to have its own new leadership. In early March of '99, about 5 months ago, it was announced that both Clark and Ron would be taking over for what was essentially described as a transitional period in the aftermath of Six Pieces. About 2 weeks later, the company released a press statement that thanked Ron for his work, but announced that Clark was the new permanent. Most of the information on Clark you knew already. Made description intended to focus on his advertising career and that his mother was Lauren Roottrees. Few seem to touch on his complex and volatile marital history. Since taking over, Clark has tried to remain out of the spotlight, but did have one notable foray into the public eye. He gained a lot of support when his first move was a statement in favor of accepting Sam and her family into trust. This also served as an announcement that the client's trust would no longer be handled by anyone in the family, since due to their financial motivations, none of them could ever be impartial. Right. Right. Clients trust Roottrees' unusual legal arrangement and the motivation for that. As a recap, the entire family owns inheritance directly from the profits. The candy company as well as their sister clothing company, Root. Nearly every Roottrees can potentially have a say in the company's high-level operations historically. Wait, I think I've already read this. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've already read that. Shit. Okay. Buck. How would I get a picture of Christine? I guess it's worth the shot, right? How do you spell Pharaoh? 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 Christine? Pharo. I always say, fucking, my spelling is the thing that always makes me feel the dumbest. I don't. Bat. Long shot. Okay. Uh. What do these fuck ass kids do? What do you do? What do you do, kids? Have I already... How would I get a picture of the principal of the place? Huh! 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 Grandor School for the Deaf has made a few odd appearances here and there in the Butler County Times since '90. It's not too many. You can't look at all of them, and as such, scrolling through a few pages, managed to find something incredibly useful in an article that isn't even focused on the school itself. Local students provide key evidence in scientific study. The article from March of this year, '99, mentioned that the Ford sisters, who attend public school in Butler County, are one of only a handful of identical twins in the world who suffer from 2 different genetic issues. One of them has asthma, and the other has a deadly allergy to peanuts. Their mother, a Miss Susie Ford, who is principal at the nearby Grandor School for the Deaf, was originally contacted by researchers looking to identify if there were any sets of twins where one was born deaf and the other was not. While she didn't have any twins attending her school, she asked if her daughters, Melissa and Heather, could be useful, and it turns out they were. She says they couldn't be more different. My youngest, we all call her that even though it's only about 15 minutes, is shy but essentially hasn't stopped running from the moment she learned to scamper. Asthma has kept her sister off the soccer field, but she's the definition of extrovert and is even performing in a local production of Is There Life After High School later this year. Article includes a picture of the girls added to your evidence. Great. Okay. Great. Great! Yay! An EpiPen and an inhaler. Okay. Okay. Alright. Alright. Alright, let's get this straight then. So, one of them, both of them, they're both students. Alright, this is how we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this so good. We're gonna do this so good. Alright. They're both Fords. Yeah? Well. Oh, I only just now realized something. I just realized something. Oh, shit. The names, the last names. Oh, fuck. Fuck. If Suzanne Ford is her name, her husband's name's probably something different, and then the kid's name's probably took the dad's name, right? Shit. Fucking names, dude. What do they mean? What are the fucking names, dude? Oh, fuck. Because the youngest hasn't stopped running. So youngest needs the EpiPen. Youngest, EpiPen. Youngest, younger, EpiPen. You, asthma. Fuck. Shit. Damn. Shit. Fuck. Well, it's worth trying, right? Let me... I assume I'm gonna be wrong about this. But watch this. Watch this. I'm just... Melissa and Heather. Alright, you want a Melissa? You want a Heather? You want a Melissa? You want a Heather? It's not... yeah. Oh! No way! Wait. So wait, does that mean... Car horn outside is distracting me. Because of course it is. Oh wait. So that means the name thing. That got locked in. That's good. That's all good. Okay, well. This. What the fuck is this? What's up here? This is the... What? What's going on? Okay, well. I'm going to assume the picture is correct. And I'm also going to assume the name is correct. So you're not a musician at the last moment. You're right, baby. When in doubt, pick baby. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. But good on me. Good on me. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. Alright, I'm gonna get some water and get stretch my legs for just a second. And then we'll probably play for like another hour. I probably have another like hour in me. I'm gonna get some water. I will be back, I'll be back shortly. Alright, I'm back. I'm gonna fake break while looking up stuff. I wish. I should have done that. Just be like I come back from come back from a restroom break. Just start solving a bunch of shit. That'd be funny. You know what? I'll think of that next time. And is that me? That is an artist's rendition of me talking to my son slash spirit animal, Charlie Brown. I like how it looks like me, like, comforting Charlie Brown in a moment of distress. And I'm like, I've been there, bud. That's me basically telling it, it's like, I've been there. Well then, excuse me, coughing a bunch. What the hell does she do now, though, then? Like, what? She's not a musician. Well, I hate this stupid... I mean, I get it. It makes sense. But there's a small part of me that wishes it would just accept any job they did. Or if it took, like, any job they did, and then it did, like, how you could have, like, alternate pictures for people. And then you could just do alternate, like, occupations as well. And it would just accept whatever one is correct. Although, then you can make the argument that baby would fit for everyone. Because at all times, everyone was once a baby. So that'd be tricky. So maybe take back. Take it back. I take it back. Just fill everyone in as baby. I know. I destroyed my own argument within 2 seconds. It's so upsetting. Alright, where do I want to... Oh, God. Where do we go? Why is there 7 in this? This is... What does that mean? I would love to in the next hour get to 12, but I think that feels like wishful thinking. That seems unattainable. That would require me to get, like, her new position, maybe this, get a picture of her, and then some other rando. Farm supervisor was named Elizabeth. A farm supervisor. Elizabeth had a daughter. It says that this Elizabeth is different than the other Elizabeth, right? A different Elizabeth than the supervisor from the farm. Okay. It's always with the secretary, you know what I mean? What's with... But it might be the same thing where it's like it's a different secretary. You know what I mean? Or not, it's not a different secretary. It's a different occupation is what I meant to say. Like, it's not that when they were secretaries when then the snapshot of the family tree takes place. But for now, I'll put this and hope for the best. Elizabeth, secretary. Old secretary. Elizabeth. How many different flavors did he try to develop? What if there was something tied to like the flavors he tried to develop and then also the people he was having an affair with? What is Jiguia? I don't think it's cheating for me to look what this is. It means watermelon in Chinese. Oh shit. Okay, wait. We might be onto something. Oh, can I search it in game? Oh. Okay. Now I think my theory may hold some water. Because I don't know where I'd want to stick this. But weren't there some very extremely sound like excuse me. Chinese sounding names here? And that would make sense if he was like he was going all around the world. And if he also like one of the places he visited was like some place in China. He had an affair in China. And then my theory starts making sense. That he starts making flavors based on places he goes to. That would be crazy. But I mean, like... Strawberry? I mean... I don't know... I don't know what butterscotch would represent. It was the old person's home he went and visited. Old people love butterscotch flavor. But to me, that seems so out there, right? But there was 4 different flavors he was doing, right? Let me see. Sugar plum, strawberry. Sugar plum, strawberry. Giguia. Butterscotch caviar. 5 flavors, 5 affairs. I mean, that's weird. That'd be a very weird reason. But I mean, we had the 5 flavors because the 5 pieces up here, and they were the kids. What are the Chinese sounding names? Where are they? I mean, what if it's the kids from... Okay. Let me think. I'm entering my mind palace. What's this kid? David? David? Sugar plum? Strawberry? Butterscotch. Caviar. No. Joanna? Maybe it's not something not as strict as that. Maybe it is just he went to China, he had an affair, and also he was like, oh shit, the watermelon here is delicious. Let's make a flavored candy after this. It could just be as simple as that. It could just be like, hey, wait a second. This Chinese watermelon tastes amazing. Start production and research and development on this candy flavor. Also, I'm having another affair. Don't get mad at me. You know, something like that. I was about to say my penis found another affair. I don't know why it would be like that, but maybe that's how Guy talks, you know? I've tripped and fallen and stumbled into another affair. I can't help it. I'm the president of a candy company. With apologies to my wife, Patricia. I almost was going over here. Patricia. Okay, I think, okay. I think this is Anonymom. I assume Anonymom is not an option here. Great. I think this is Anonymom. I think this is some kind of, it sounds weird, but I think this is some kind of Chinese affair. Just because it's an option in the names. And there's a candy flavor. I know that's not a good reason, necessarily. But, like, maybe it's all just to throw me off. That's also a possibility. I don't know names at all. I don't know. Shit, I was hoping there was like an updated 5 pieces flavor thing. I don't know names. The Rue website has a small memorial section to the deceased members of the family, but it contains no new information. The most recent catalog, spring of '99, had an entirely black cover with no text on it. On the leadership page, you learn that Root is currently managed by a designer who's apparently Brenda White's second in command. You don't recognize her name, and she seems unrelated to your search. There's also a scholarship page. On it, you find information about the Roottrees Sisters Fashion Scholarship. It is awarded to 3 underprivileged high school girls each year who wish to pursue a career in fashion. Apparently, it also gives them an opportunity to show off their design on professional models on a real runway. According to the site, the fund was created directly from shares that would have contributed to the inheritance of the Roottrees sisters if they were still alive. Like other aspects of the Clancy Trust, it's managed by Ruby Legal Enterprises. Which we had already, I assume, we had already searched pretty early on. What was the whole deal with this person? Aha! I recalled that that's something. Oh man. Pickety Magazine is a publication that, as far as you can tell, has no consistent theme. It tends to contain tabloid-esque articles that appeal to a wider variety of audiences and appears in many grocery stores near the checkout line. Unlike traditional tabloids, it doesn't typically feature celebrities on the cover. Instead, it tends to latch onto and create sensationalist headlines about whatever subject appears to be popular at a given time. In recent years, this has included Beanie Babies, Magic Eye images, and even Red Bull. It has often come under fire for printing fiction along with the facts. Piketty gets around this by stating in every issue that all its articles are all the hearsay that's fit to print. At one point, Piketty ran an article about Cicely Sanchez, an author. She claimed to have written an unread book about Guy Hudson. The article was not even the main focus of the issue, yet the magazine was threatened legally by the Roottrees Corporation. That particular issue, the Big Sass Sea Bass issue, was pulled from shelves. It's now become a collector's item, especially among conspiracy theorists attempting to figure out what the Roottrees company was hiding. You find a recently finished online auction that lists a copy at over $1,000, though nobody bid. Alright, well, of course. The first thing to do would be this. Okay. And the first thing to do would be to do this. The first thing to do would be to do this. Okay. Well, the first thing to do would be to do this. In an issue that focused on a talking toy fish and the demonic messages it supposedly said as the batteries ran low, Piketty had an article about a canceled book by Cicely Sanchez. The book's subject was Guy Hudson, and the issue is said to contain pictures that Cicely did not have the rights to publish. Because of the pictures, this issue was pulled from store shelves, making it the subject of some conspiracies and an instant collector's item. Due to this recall, the version found in these archives is incomplete. Do I need to, like... Drop me in the water. Dip me in the river. It's a talking bass things. 8 things tied to this. Beelzebub? Beelzebub? This is really good. Could this popular gift be filling homes with satanic messages? That's pretty good. This is the issue of Piketty magazine that contains an article about Cicely Sanchez. The story concerned an unreleased book she had written about Guy Hudson. It seems that it used photos of Guy that Cicely did not own the rights to publish. Unfortunately, the magazine was issued a cease and desist by the Roottrees lawyers. Magazine was pulled from shelves, and the version you found in your periodical search had the relevant pages removed, rendering this magazine useless, unless you want to read about a potentially demonic fish toy. Which I do? Well, then what the hell am I supposed to do? How do I... But it still says there are 8. I know, the game really did tell me to just go fuck myself and go to bed. Honestly, tuck yourself in. How do I... But clearly it's trying to tell me that there's stuff tied to this, but maybe in its full, complete form, or maybe the book. But it's an unreleased book, so I can't search up. Did we have the name of the book by any chance before? It's not gonna work though, right? Because no, I don't think we ever got the name of the book, but it was unreleased. So, like, I think even and the title of the book is not just gonna be Guy Hudson. Fuck you. Fuck. And I do want to read about a potentially demonic fish toy. God. Fuck. Fuck. Archives is incomplete. Big Sass Sea Bass, you know what, I'm gonna read it, fuck it, is a talking fish that sits on a fake mount on your wall. When you press the button to speak into it, it mimics your voice and then insults you. Many people consider it a rip-off of a more popular wall-mounted communication-based fish decoration, but the packaging makes it clear that this one does not sing. Legally distinct. Instead, what the advertisements say set Big Sass Sea Bass apart from its competitors is a sardonic and sarcastic wit that'll leave you reeling with laughter. It's oceans of fun for the whole family. You'll be hooked on this big sassy bass. The words reeling, oceans, and hooked are conveniently bold to ensure you recognize how clever the copyright was. Recently appeared on the cover of Piketty magazine in the same issue that Roottrees-related article appeared. That issue was removed from stores after the Roottrees sued the magazine. Issues become a collection that I'm ripe for conspiracy theories about what the Roottrees are trying to keep from people. Take me to the river. Drop me in the water. Hit me in the river. That's what they would sing. We had one of those when I was younger. As like a gag thing. Yeah, the big mouth Billy Bass. That's the actual thing. We had one of those. It was incredibly dumb. Incredibly dumb. Take me to the river. It would sing some song like that. Drop me in the water. I want those photos. I want this full story about this demonic fish toy. Fuck. Fuck. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. All right, we gotta I want to search, look at, no. I don't know if I'd read this before, right? Yeah, this is new. Mary Beth Clementine was a singer most popular in the years between 42 and 59. She traveled around the country performing at churches. Her repertoire was a mix of religious and popular songs, and although she recorded a few records, they seem lost to time. The only one you find mentioned was a cover of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, released under the label New Edison. Do you think I could find this? No. Well, if I was reviewed and advertised many times in Modern Music Monthly, but the most popular recording was released of her cover of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. What a popular religious little children's song thing. It was released under the label New Edison. Modern Music Monthly had a very positive review of her cover, and the writer complimented her voice and the tone of her guitar. The review had nothing to say about Mary Beth herself, so it's not of much use to your investigation. There was also some other Mary Beth Clementine releases that appeared over the years. One of them was The Old Rugged Cross, which is the only song that was advertised but not reviewed. Advertised but not reviewed. I know I skipped over her whole thing. I'll go back to her article thing. New Edison was a small record label based in LA that existed for a few years. In the 40s, it raced to release cover records of songs that were gaining popularity. According to a website about the history of recorded sound, it was named after its founder, Sterling Edison. Its biggest claim to fame is being sued by the estate of Thomas Edison in Edison Records versus Edsel. You'll also find a few references to New Edison and Mary Beth Clementine sites about old records. One collector says that the Holy Grail is a re-release of the Old Rugged Cross, and says that the first edition was probably published before she legally changed her name. Another site claims that the police had to be called to New Edison Records after its owner, Sterling Edison, got in physical altercation in public, leading to a divorce. after its owner got in a physical altercation in public. The police had to be called to New Edison Records after its owner, Sterling Edison, got in a physical altercation in public leading to a divorce. There's no cited sources of evidence, and the site's content seems user submitted. There's an email address at the bottom of the phrase. Send me your stories about old Hollywood, and I'll add them to the page. Is it possible that which led to a divorce? I mean, maybe would she have been married to the guy who then owns the... What is with the Edsel and Edison name thing? What am I... Named after its founder, Sterling Edison. Its biggest claim to fame is being sued by the estate of Thomas Edison. I'm just gonna... And then they get a divorce. Alright, here we go. One thing Mary Beth was known for was for her adoption. She's listed on many sites that mention adoption and the history of adoption. She adopted 2 children in the late 40s, Stuart and Mark. She adopted 2 children in the late 1940s, Stuart and Mark. Stuart. Mark. Stuart. Okay, so it is, so she had these kids adopted, but adopted maybe in quotes, because at least Stuart at some point then goes to Regina and says, hey, I might be the child potentially of the fling between Miracle and Clementine herself that then caused most likely the argument and then separation here. And maybe it was just under the guise of an adoption, which would then kind of jive with the weird information we got that one time at the little spot that was about talking about her first joining up with the Miracle Network place. We're making, I mean, Mark. My name is Mark. She also spoke as an advocate for the benefits of adoption in front of the United States Congress in '49, who were convening to debate and discuss the then recent first adoption of an African-American child to a white family in the United States. She was specifically there to detail her experience going through the system to adopt Stuart. Her other son was adopted later, according to a single line on one adoption site, under unusual circumstances. Strange. In 1959, it surfaced that Mary Beth had been twice divorced, both times to her manager, Sterling. This ended her career with the religious audience she had been catering to, and while she performed occasionally since then, she mostly faded into obscurity. Mary Beth passed away in 1994 at the age of 76 of a stroke. I just want to see something. Crocodile Clementine is listed on a website titled the Infamy List. It's a massive list of criminals who are known for odd crimes. Although Mark's nickname would imply he hails from Florida, a lot of others on the list come from there, or Australia, Mark is listed as being from LA. He has a pretty big entry, seems like a real piece of work. There's a very small note about him being the basket baby of 1950, but most everything else comes from his adulthood. He lost his job in 75 as a pilot for a regional airline after he tried to board the wrong airline's plane. He was drunk. He was charged with trespassing and assault. In 82, he was arrested for transporting smuggled animals over the Canadian and Mexican borders for an illegal reptile supplier in LA. He was apparently quite successful for the first 4 years, but was caught when he had to make an emergency landing in Portland after he was bitten on the foot by a crocodile, hence the nickname. Apparently, the Portland Telegraph is credited as having given him his nickname. His mugshot from this incident has been added to your photos. In 93, he was released on parole, but his freedom didn't last long. He was arrested in 94 in San Diego for violating it in an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. He was arrested in 94 in San Diego for violating it in an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. He famously punched the principal, a man named Billy Sims. This incident received national press. What a picture. You found this mugshot online. It's Mark Clementine, who was arrested for smuggling reptiles into the United States. So what would that job be then? What are you? Are you a pilot? Do we call him a pilot? Do we call him a criminal? Baby, perhaps? Cashier, CEO, chef, director, doctor, driver, farmer, firefighter, hairdresser, media mogul, perhaps? Military model, musician, pilot, principal. Oh, pilot. Pilot. But we didn't see Billy Sims is the principal of Sandstone Canyon High School, who had his 15 minutes of fame in 94 when he was punched by Crocodile Clementine at graduation ceremony. Pretty much every news organization from trustworthy tabloid seems to have their own take on the altercation. It wasn't the punch that captured the nation's attention, however. Instead, it was Billy Sims' matter-of-fact response to the threat, his comments afterwards, as heard in a now famous audio clip from someone who was recording the ceremony. Billy saw Mark hop onto the graduation stage and said, "Sir, you'll want to sit down or we'll have a problem." At that point, Crocodile reportedly sucker punched him in the face. Billy, apparently only slightly dazed, said, "Alright, sir, I guess we'll have a problem." Clementine tried to throw another punch, but Sims anticipated and performed a maneuver that spectators described as a wrestling move mixed with a backward somersault, which immediately brought both men to the floor, with Sims straddling Clementine, keeping him neutralized. As security arrived, the recording captured someone asking, "How did you do that?" And Sims responded with, response was famously, "Trust me, I'm as surprised as anyone." Weird. Weird. So strange. So strange. So strange. How would I... trying to think if the game wants me to try to get a copy of this without the missing pages somehow. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Should I, like... I'm wondering if it would be beneficial to, like, try just go to... What if I just go to a bunch of old piece of evidence and, like, pick up... The problem is there probably isn't that much that's going to be useful, right? None of this is going to matter. It's old for a reason. Old evidence is old. Disgusting. The song, though, true. Let's listen to the other one so that we can really make a determination. Let me listen to this one.
Life is life, love shall be. Me for you, and you for me. Someday will come, though, that this tree will be the last of what was we. With passing years, all paths diverge. Rivers rambling, onward surge. One source behind old memories, but find their ways to different seas. Someday these times will all be over. All be over. Dew dries on the morning clover. Morning clover. So take my hand beneath the tree and carve your name with me. times are ours for free. We'll tell ourselves these stories older, dwell on warmth, ignore the colder, probably yearn for what could be, rose tinted by youth's memory. So act as though these times ain't fleeting, love still flows, our hearts heart beating. For now ignore fate's destiny, two roads that cross once at this tree. Someday these times will all be over.
All be over.
Dew dries on the morning clover.
Morning clover.
So take my hand beneath the tree and carve your name with me.
Shit.
These times for free.
Fuck. I think we might just have to. I feel like my brain always gets tapped out after like 3 hours in this game. And then I need like a good rest, and then I like can come back and I start solving some shit.
These times will all be over.
Really, I gotta figure out how to like get a picture of Christine, and also like a photo of the principal lady here. And there's apparently at least 2, or there is 2. And then I also need to figure out her ending occupation before she apparently had a stroke.
Times are ours for free.
I don't know if... Does this just... Do you become like... She's not a musician. Is she like a public speaker if she's going around with the church thing? You know what I mean? Like... Seems Miracle is going on a new tour of the United States in late 99. Previous flyer for 3 generations of Miracle has been replaced. Be a part of history. The oldest living Roottreer reprised and retells this incredible true story. Miracle Roottreer grew up as one of the famous 5 pieces living a life of wealth and luxury, but fortune was nothing compared to the powerful force of the Almighty. Doctors determined he was destined to die young, but fate had different plans. He has lived a long and fruitful life, however, he's now in his 70s. And his age is beginning to make life on the road more difficult, so consider this your last chance to see him in a town near you before he settles back down in Pennsylvania. In this intimate evening, Miracle will reminisce about his famous history, discuss his family's saints and sinners, and provide a unique perspective on one of the most notable families in the U.S. today. Learn what originally drove him away from his fortune into the arms of religion, and learn how his life has become more wealthy in spirit than it ever could have been from his inheritance. So I'd also list the churches he will be appearing in and mention that tickets can be purchased at their local services. Noticeably absent are any mentions about Miracle's news appearances. That note's done. Alright, yeah. I guess we should just call it there for the night. But I think decent-ish work. Yeah, right? How many are there? Is there 20? 5, 6, 7, 8. No, there's more than that. 8, 11, 13, 15, 16, 18, 21, 23, 25, 28, 30. 8 of 30? That's fine. We take it. We take it. Let's see. Weekend ahead. I mentioned long weekend for me. 3-day weekend technically. So I would definitely, even if it doesn't crawl into Monday, it might not even take Monday, but I think we're definitely over this weekend at some point. I think we're gonna finish Promise Mascot Agency, and we're also gonna finish Zato. I love the world and everything in it. I think I mentioned this in the description to part 2 that I think airs tomorrow on YouTube. I think I was lied to. I don't think there are 6 episodes in Zato. I think I was previously lied to. And by lied to, I mean maybe my own assumptions were wrong. I think we're like more than halfway through that thing. I think I misunderstood something at some point. So I think Zato will be finished this weekend at some point. I think Promise Mascot Agency will be finished, and you know, depending on how long those take, we might get pretty close to also finishing the I would assume probably getting close to finishing the DLC for Crosscode, or maybe even this, depending on if we want to go hard on this. But yeah, I expect a lot of things will start clearing up. You know, over this weekend we'll start clearing out a lot of the stuff we started. For a while, I thought you hadn't considered Crosscode as finished. The base game, I mean. You mean for technicality's sake? No, I considered Crosscode technically done. Crosscode done. But I consider the DLC like a separate thing. I don't know exactly what you mean for. Because I didn't include on the reels of finished games. For the video today? That came out today? The top 10 game video? That definitely was included in the reel of finished games. It was towards the end. Don't gaslight me. That's why I was so confused. It definitely is in there. Yeah. I remember sticking it out towards the end. Get to that part. Get to that part. I'll wait. I think you missed both it and Silent Hill F. Now you're definitely gaslighting me. I spent so much time editing stuff in that video. I definitely remember including Silent Hill F in the, because I can remember position-wise where they are, especially when you consider because it's set to the music. I know where it is in the music clip. Silent Hill F is, no. I know the clips too. Silent Hill F in the montage has her carrying the big pole weapon in one of those little rooms. And then in Crosscode, I'm hopping in a dungeon between like a couple little platforms, because each of the clips in the montage are 2 seconds each. Exactly 2 seconds. And I remember the clips specifically because I had to edit certain things about them, and then obviously to fit the montage thing. And to the music, like I said. And they're in order. Both of those are definitely in there. Unless there's some weird thing happened in between me exporting the video and then uploading into YouTube's thing. I was about to have the biggest conniption. If you had told me that there was like an editing mistake or something. There's only one thing. I'm not going to say what it is. And it's probably would be very hard to find out what. There's only one thing that I could maybe consider an editing mistake that I made at some point. And then it could technically could be considered an editing mistake, but it would be hard to tell unless you saw the behind the scenes stuff that I had access to and I did a good job of covering it, and by the time I realized it, I didn't want to go in and change anything.